So how's the construction? You guys you're still on track?
Don't ask questions like that.
March 2015, right?
March 2015, exactly. Yes,
perfect.
That is the goal. And we are exactly on target.
Claude, I am learning much about life from you.
It's a scary thought.
Hello and welcome to the DBO
Starside Lounge
podcast, episode 10. I am Beorn, and this week I am joined. It's more than a week. It's been months, people, and we're slowly back. But we are here this week to talk about the culmination of some rumors, and we are right on the eve of, everybody's waiting for it, the new Taylor Swift album.
Woo!
Oh, wait.
I had
wrong
idea.
Wrong podcast. No, I'm Beorn, and this week we've got Claude.
Hey ho.
And Xenos, as always.
Hello.
Hey, Xenos. And we've got Speedracer.
Hey, y'all.
And brand new to the crew, we've got Korny. Or
Warlocks.
Or Monkey. Good man. Good man.
Warlocks.
Yeah, welcome to the crew.
Hello.
You've been, I think you've already posted more news than I have in the last, 2 years. So I really appreciate that.
Me too.
Yeah, I was wondering where you were on Thursday. I had to post it 3 hours after the update went up.
Yeah.
And you gave me a hard time, sir.
I didn't even check to go back and check and see if you updated that.
I didn't update it till the next morning. I didn't get home till 1 o'clock or something.
The funny thing is he's given me a hard time a lot of times because I don't mention it.
Yes. I didn't read the author tag right away, and I actually, when I put in the text, I said, "You got me this time, Korny," and then I had to go back and change it.
All right. No, so what we're actually here to talk about is the Destiny April update, and which is going to land in 2 days on Tuesday, the 12th. Hopefully I'll have this posted by then.
Before then?
Yeah, we'll see what I can do.
If not, then it posted X
Tuesday.
number of days ago.
Yes, exactly. And I hope
Bjorn can edit in the right number.
7.
So, how's everybody enjoying the new update?
Exactly.
Yeah, these balancing changes, man. So
Something tells me Korny's going to have that new PlayStation exclusive sniper by Wednesday.
And Cody will never get it.
Yep.
Well,
if only I had good luck with RNG.
Cody and I think if we both can get our hands on a Jade Rabbit, we'll be happy. The sniper, I just want a Jade Rabbit.
I just like that I said that, and nobody went, "Oh, but he's not playing anymore."
Oh, I did. I said it.
Wink.
So with the update, it's a fairly extensive update. I think it's more than I was initially expecting. And I think Xenos, you had said similarly when we sort of chatted about this before.
A lot of stuff for a free update.
Yeah, Claude, what are your thoughts on just sort of the big picture?
The big picture
with the update, yeah.
I'm not sure I know what the big picture is.
That's true. I guess none of us really know what the big picture is.
I'm looking forward to, I guess to the new light caps, but I'm not 100% sure what difference they're going to make in actual day-to-day gameplay.
Right. Because it's effectively going from 305 to 320. That's the sort of difference we're talking about, right?
Yeah, more or less. And I'm a little bit worried about the fact that the 2 levels of King's Fall raid are being bumped up, but there's been no talk about whether that means that difficulty is also being bumped up. I assume it is, because otherwise they're giving you something for nothing.
Oh, they said it is.
Right. So what happens to people who haven't played King's Fall yet? And there are a bunch.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to be able to get to that 330 a lot easier, because not only are more places dropping it, but more places are dropping it. You'll have 5 or 6 different activities that can get you 330 plus stuff.
Well, and that's one of the more interesting things about this update, though, to me, is, yeah, they're bumping up the light level, but it seems like it's going to be really easy to get to that light level, because apparently you don't have to infuse a bunch of items to get it up to the level you want. You
Right.
just find
That part's
one
true.
item and infuse something, and it gets it up to the light level, which is...
But a bunch of
huge-
the activities are only dropping specific kinds of items.
True.
Right. I think
So-
335 is still going to be very hard to reach.
Right, but it's not like an asymptote approach, where that's how 320 was.
I actually think it's smart that they have specific items dropping from different activities that you can't get elsewhere, because that's kind of keeps you from just grinding the one thing that people were getting burnt out on for King's Fall, because that was the only way to advance your light.
Yeah,
Yeah, it sort of keeps the churn up.
I suppose.
Yeah, so I watched the updates, all 3 streams, and most of the time I would go into some of the popular streamers right afterward, just to kind of see what their buzz was, what they were talking about, what their chat was talking about. And they made a point, I think it was after that second one, when Bungie mentioned that the Strike exclusive items will now drop to up to max level. And they were all under the impression, and I think they're right, that all of those different strikes that drop, the Shield Brothers drop an arm piece, right?
Yep.
And you can get a particular helmet from the Dark Blade. So the impression we all got is that those things will now be able to drop up to 305. So theoretically, if you're the kind of person that doesn't ever want to play Iron Banner, Trials of Osiris, or Raid, if you're a solo player that can't get a group together, theoretically you can hit 335 just by running the Strike playlist. Now, obviously, RNG is probably not going to let you get there before September, but...
Are there Strike exclusive legs? And
yeah, that's what they were talking about. They're actually... Well, I think they were saying that depends on if one of the new strikes drops legs. I can't remember. They were talking about whether one of the strikes already had it. I can't remember if someone remembered that one of them does, or if it's like, well, that presumes that one of these strikes has legs.
and
But even being
artifacts.
one item short, though, would be a pretty big difference from now.
Yeah.
Because, I'm max level I can get to is, I think, 317. So
Yeah, I'm with you there, and I still play fairly often. I think a lot of us have cut back quite a bit on the amount of Destiny we've played over the last month or two.
Not all
And
of
I
us.
think I'm still 317. Well, Claude, you just get on and play like 2 hours of Crucible every day, right?
It's his morning
Yeah.
calisthenics.
Not this week. Actually, no, I don't generally play before like 6 or 7 at night. I would love to play in the morning, but it just never seems to work out. But yeah, it's a lot of Crucible and raiding recently, almost every week.
That's good. It's fun to have do you have like a regular raid group that you run with?
A couple different ones, but yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot more fun doing that than the looking for a group thing from week to week. Just trying to get
Yeah.
gear out.
I don't think I would get that done. I don't think I would stick with it. Yeah, no, it's definitely fun to do with people that you know.
Yeah, I wish I could, but thanks to the Fire Team Builder, I can no longer ever play with my friends. So thanks for that, Beorn.
Oh, bullcrap.
Wait, what?
You play with DBO people all the time.
What does that mean?
Korny doesn't like to get on and sign up for Fire Team Builder events all the time. So this was more of a problem maybe 2 months ago, but a lot of the PlayStation 4 raids that would get posted would usually get filled up by the normal PS4 DBO people within a few hours, and so he was never signed up for those.
Okay, fair enough.
So that's what.
But I'm not mad.
But you're not mad. I've recently been playing with Chappie, and until like 3 weeks ago, he would sign up all 6 people for his raid, like as he signed up. And then if you wanted to add yourself as an alternate, you could.
It's a good calendar reminder.
I did that once, and somebody was like, "Why'd you do this?" Like, so I could remember that it was happening.
Well, that's kind of. We started that back when we were going for a Flawless Raider back in like November of year 1, and that's kind of what started the Kermit's Deeply Flawed Raiders group. Was he kept seeing all these Flawless Raider events in the Fireteam Builder, and so as a joke, they started putting Deeply Flawed Raider events. And
yeah, those are fun.
They still have that core group. I think they even had shirts made.
Yeah.
Did they ever have shirts made for the Kermit's Purity crew?
So, with the update and the light change to 335, the main new in-game activity seems to be the Prison of Elders again. And I was a little surprised to see them resurrect that. But maybe it was one of the easier things to modify. I don't know. But are you guys looking forward to going back into the prison? Do you feel like you've sort of is the experience going to change much, do you think?
I'm actually I'm pretty excited just because they seem to have taken the feedback that the community was giving. Like, even just the fact that it's now 3 rounds instead of 5 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing that was cool about Prison of Elders is that you had a smaller group, so it was easier to get people together. But, when you did Skolas, it was like, well, does anybody have 2 hours or, an hour and a half to do this?
Or longer.
Or longer,
only
depending.
The challenge round is 3 rounds.
Is it only the challenge round?
I believe
the challenge of the Elders is 3 rounds. Everything else is still a full 5, including the 41
But
level.
Still, though, I mean, that's still an improvement just because the challenge round, the harder stuff, was always the stuff that took a really long time to do. The old 5 rounds didn't take that long unless you were doing...
wasn't what took forever, usually.
Right.
Yeah, Skolas was an hour plus just to get to him, and then another 2 hours fighting him. I'm excited to try it out. I'm a little concerned about how much longevity this is going to have. And while, there's a pretty good amount of stuff for this being a free update, I think we're still kind of in the dark about how much there really is going to be. They've said there's a new quest with a new strike. They haven't said anything about the steps of that quest. Is that going to be 6 or 7 missions? Is it going to be 2 or 3 story missions and then a quest? Is that it? If it is new missions, is that going to be completely fighting in areas we've already been with like no new geography at all?
Yeah, I can't imagine.
They have a real chance to really surprise us here by they haven't promised very much, and so if they actually have 7 or 8 story missions and a strike, then that's the size of Dark Below House of Wolves, and that'll be amazing, especially if there's a little bit of new play space. At the same time, if it's just 3 or 4 story missions in places we've already fought, and that's really all there is to the new quest, I don't want to say I'll be disappointed because obviously this is a free update, but the whole point of the Eververse was that it was inferred that we were going to get Dark Below type updates for free. And I'm not convinced yet that this is going to be a Dark Below or House of Wolves level of content.
The problem with that point of view is that you're looking for House of Wolves or Dark Below style expansions at in one go. If you were to consider back during the Halloween event, the SRL and the content now, all of it they could have delayed it all up until like one single drop, which is what they did for Dark Below. And which Dark Below, actually a lot of the content, because a lot of it involved patrol, it could have been added over time, but they decided to hold it back for one single expansion, and I think that led to a lot of disappointment and that's the problem now, is that they released all this trickle of content over the course of the past few months that people are still going to be disappointed about each individual piece as it comes and as it's consumed and as people move on from it.
Well, yeah, the problem, though, is that, Festival of the Lost didn't really actually have much to do. It was just some bounties to go do in patrol. SRL was 3 weeks long. It was maybe a week's worth of content that you could do for 3 weeks, and it was fun. I had a blast. The Crimson Doubles was nothing, really. It was, just a playlist that not a whole lot of people even touched, except for the 7 matches to get the Ghost. Even if you add those in together with this, the problem is we've got a long span here of September to September with, as far as we can tell, this is the only real content update that's happening between Taken King and whatever we get in presumably September of this year. When they gave us a couple months ago kind of the roadmap, it sounds like this is the only actual content release we're getting. And then in September, there's going to be a much larger one, inferred that it's going to be on the level of Taken King and it's going to cost money again, which is great. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm happily paying money for that.
And by content update, you mean something that is permanent to the game world past, like SRL came, and then when it went, sort of the world wasn't changed after.
Right, absolutely. And I think if SRL became a permanent thing, or even came back on a monthly basis like Iron Banner, I guess I would give it a little bit more credit as a new thing that we have to do in Destiny. But it was a timed event, and as much as we all loved it and played it for 3 full weeks, who didn't complete everything in less than a week if they were playing it as much as we play anything else?
I had 2 platforms to play on, so I didn't mind that extra time.
Yeah. So I don't want to sound like I'm down on this, because I am looking forward to the April update, and I think it'll be fun. And I'm not getting my expectations up that we're going to get this massive amount of content, and I'm going to be disappointed if we don't. A lot of us have seen that over the past month or two, we haven't had much to do, except for get on and play Crucible for fun, which I've had a blast doing. And every time I've gotten on an Xbox recently, I've joined up with Claude and another group and run Crucible. And I kind of actually, in some ways, am glad we don't have stuff going on. I don't really have bounties I need to work on, because it's great to just get on and play the game for fun's sake. But if this is the only content drop we're getting this week between now and September, and by that I mean we're not going to have any other stories or new strikes or anything to run, and I do expect we'll have like another SRL or something between now and then, but we need some more lore, some more story, more things to do. I'm just concerned that this is a lot of months to go without some infusion of.
But so, like, what do we lose? What does anybody lose if Bungie doesn't give us that stuff before September? What if you take the next 4 months off of Destiny altogether and come back when there's new content in the fall? Who loses, really? I mean, the rest of us do, because the pool is smaller, but do you lose?
That's the biggest issue.
I think you got a point. I think the who loses might be Bungie, that just because of they've obviously set this game up. They want it to be a hobby, something we log into every day or at least every week to do stuff. And sure, we don't have to log in every day. It's not like this is going to hurt us. And, I'd love to catch up on a lot of my backlog of other games, which I have been doing over the past month or two. So that doesn't really hurt us. You're right. I don't know that it really hurts Bungie's bottom line if we don't log in for 4 months. It's just kind of the game we were told we had, and the game that we do have based on the way they've set up the investment system, is it is not meant to be the kind of game you put away for 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, that's true.
There's true. 2 things to that, though. The first one is, like, even now when you're looking at the content that's coming out, you're looking at it, like you've said, you're looking at it from the point of view that you want to finish what there is to do in it in a week. That's why you worry about the longevity of it. If you think about it, from between The Dark Below and House of Wolves, that was over 5 months without anything dropping between that point in time, and all there was to do was the raid. And the way they have it set up now, with all these different ways to level up, it feels like that's to help the people who do play it as a hobby, who will skip days, weeks, and then they get back to it and have this list of different ways to progress if that's what they want to do. Or, like you said, if you want to play the game just to play the game, they've added these venues where even if you're just doing that, you're still making progress. Mm-hmm. And some people don't like that you organically progress rather than, making a finish line and racing to it. And that's what I think is kind of like the way to look at it is just this April update is made for the people who don't play it every single day.
Right. No, I agree with you, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I'm not going to be trying to rush to get through everything in 1 week. Obviously, that's why some of us have multiple characters, and some of us are dumb enough to have multiple platforms we play on, including almost every one of us on this call.
I think everybody.
Yeah. So it's more I have this concern for the broader Destiny community that we love the game. We want reasons to log in and have new things to do. And I'm not saying that we were promised this, we're owed this. I don't feel entitled. I want that organic love of the game that many of us have, that the reason we're here playing as much as we are because we want to have new and exciting things to do. And we're all looking forward to this like crazy. I worry that a month from now, we're going to be all kind of bored with this stuff. And that would be fine if we had some other stuff on the roadmap, but September's a long time to wait for those really exciting things.
Yeah. I wonder why some of the stuff that we've gotten along the way hasn't come back yet, like SRL, like Absolutely. Crimson Doubles.
I think when we did the SRL podcast, I was saying I think people are going to be disappointed by how long it takes SRL to come back, and not because it didn't do well and they don't want it to come back, but because I think they're going to, when they bring it back, they're going to have a lot more maps. I don't think they're going to bring it back and be like, here's one or two new maps. I think they're going to be like, look, we made 10 more maps for SRL.
Yeah, and
I want to believe
and
you.
New mechanics.
And that it may be wishful thinking. We'll see.
I've always sort of pictured it being a Destiny 2 feature.
That could be.
They tried it out, and I thought it was received pretty well. So.
Well, yeah, they said when it came out, we're based on how this is received, we may bring it back somewhat soon. We may put it back in the toolbox to tinker with for a while, like they did with the Queen's Wrath. But as far as I'm aware, there wasn't anything negative about it. Everybody loved it. Yeah. That doesn't mean there aren't things they could do better to help to be even more fun, but I don't know that there was any complaining about things they needed to fix.
Claude, important question. How do you feel about the Taken Archon Priest? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
That was one of the longest strikes in the original game. I don't actually know how it's going to play out. I enjoy fighting the Taken, but it feels like it might become tedious because it's such a long strike.
Their tedium was definitely an aspect of it early on. Once everyone was leveled up, I think it became a lot shorter.
Well, and that's always something that could be fixed. Maybe like at the door, you don't have to open the door. You can just fight through that area. Yeah. There's ways they could definitely make it faster. So.
Well, it's like the Undying Mind Strike. That long tunnel with all the Minotaurs before, and when you get there and you randomly get the Taken version instead of the Minotaur version, it goes a lot quicker. You can blow through that hallway in less than half the time.
Yes. And much faster than that if you go up and kill the witches first.
Right.
So the idea that, until you level up, it's tedious. I've played Skolas 3 or 4 times in the past couple of weeks, and it's a hell of a lot of fun right now as a level, 315, 320, whatever.
Yeah.
So the idea of being under-leveled is good for challenge, not good for tedium.
Right.
On that same note, that's really my big concern for the Prison of Elder Strike, because the final encounter for that was always exactly the same problem that we had with Skolas back when he was high level, is that all we could do was sit in one corner and take pot shots at him. And that's why Skolas is so much fun now, because you can be employing so many different strategies, because you don't need to be hiding over on that one platform.
You can totally be in his face half the time.
Hiding on that one platform. I totally don't know what you mean by that. I never did that.
That's because it's not on
Bjorn,
top
I've
of
run it with you. Yes,
underneath the platform.
Well, I think that's one thing, though, that they are learning from watching that stream about Prison of Elders, which is they made the bosses have less health and have more interesting attacks. So I'm hoping that that's also something that they're like, oh, we're going to do that for the new strike as well.
Yeah, and predictable triggers for bringing out ads.
Yeah,
it's more of a choreography, and you can plan the encounter a little better.
I mean, that's one of the better things about triggers.
When you said the Prison of Elders stream, I just had Vietnam flashbacks of Professor Bromnagel.
Jeez.
Nice. I actually got somebody to admit last week that that the fact that now a fully leveled team can take down Skolas before the first mine pops, but you still have to kill both sets.
Mm-hmm.
They admitted that was a mistake, and it won't happen again.
Huh. Interesting.
Oh, really?
Well, nobody expected that you'd be able to actually kill him before the first mine.
Well, and to be fair, you only could if it was arc burn or solar burn. If it was void burn, you were screwed.
Right.
Because you didn't have your
3 Thunderlords last week just took him down in a minute or less. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I haven't done the Prison of Elders for a while. I'm kind of looking forward to going back, and it'll be fresh again for me for a little while.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. They also, they've made a point of saying that the first 16 weeks of it, basically from now until the fall, are somewhat curated, and they won't be repeated. Those 16 weeks are going to be different each week. At the same time, they are going to be 16 different sets of 3 and different modifiers to some extent. I'm a little concerned with how different that's actually going to feel by week 6 or 7, especially because we're talking about Prison of Elders. But I am hopeful. I'm hopeful that it's more fun this time around. And I wasn't one of the Prison of Elders haters the first time around either. I enjoyed it. That I had the same problems as everyone else with having to hide in the corner with Skolas, and I was a little disappointed that the level 32 and 34 versions were the same and not random. I wanted to be able to go into Prison of Elders and have a completely random experience, but I didn't want to do the 28 version because it was a little too easy and the rewards weren't as great. So I'm excited that the level 41 version now is random again. And so
they sort of consolidated
that should give us some challenge while still having some actual randomness to it.
Agreed.
Makes sense to me.
In Court of Oryx, too, yeah. That's getting a boost as well. Have they said exactly what's going on with that? Or
I think they just said they're increasing the level of the artifacts and stuff that you get from it.
But
they're not creating any new bosses?
Well, so if I'm not mistaken, the PlayStation exclusive content is going to be based around Court of Oryx. I might be wrong about that. Don't quote me.
All the screenshots that they showed for the new quest line, they're in the Court of Oryx area.
Yeah, the sniper rifle and the things that they're doing in that area.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
They're all taken in the Court of Oryx. Now, again, we haven't heard much about that, but I'm inferring that that's going to be based around.
And actually, that reminds me so there's something interesting. They haven't, aside from the PlayStation exclusive stuff, they haven't really talked about if we're getting new exotic weapons and armor.
I was thinking about that, and if you remember before House of Wolves launched, they didn't really tell us anything about the new armor there as well. It wasn't until we started seeing the creepy Titan helmet floating around.
And so that's interesting to me, just because they not only did they not say anything about it, they didn't say that it's not coming either. So
Black
I'm hoping
Spindle,
they do.
Yeah. That was completely Skunkworks.
Out of the blue.
Honestly, if nothing else, if Bungie shows us with this update that they've learned how to better under promise and over deliver, I'll be very excited for the future, because they haven't promised a lot, and I think we as a community have got to the point where our expectations aren't wildly flaring like they were September of 2009. Not 2009, 2014. That was a long time ago. But
Wow.
I was really looking forward to Reach.
yeah,
Exactly.
I was too. But I think if we're all excited because this is more than we were told, then that's going to be kind of the first time since Destiny came out where we'll really, as a general audience, feel that way.
Sorry.
Was that the Angel theme song?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Wow, that was.
I don't know who
I
I'm
don't
more
know.
disappointed.
I don't know if I'm more disappointed in Korny for turning it on, or Xenos for actually recognizing it.
I used to have that as my ringtone.
Okay.
Wow. So we've already sort of touched on it, but the infusion mechanic is finally becoming what it needs to be.
Amazing that it took this long.
I know it's. I don't know if I sort of wonder if they have meetings at Bungie where they sit around the table and they say, okay, for the first 6 months we're going to make them like struggle and just gripe about this stuff, and then we're going to give them what they want.
No,
You don't think it's
No,
planned out? I don't know.
I don't think they're assholes.
Things like
that.
Well, at least not all of them.
Things like the infusion system, because I just don't get it. Like, it never quite made sense to me.
It actually made sense to me when it was announced. Before I ever used it, I said,
Right.
"Oh yeah, that makes sense." Because then, otherwise you'd be able to pop your armor up way too fast, and there'd
Right,
never
well, it
be a
is a time-
struggle to sort of like with an 80%. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Go
sort of what I mean, though. It's a little bit of time gating by doing only 80% infusion rather than 100.
Right.
And now that everyone's
sorry.
at the top, bumping, and we're not talking like.
But everyone's
couple
not at
hundred
the
light
top.
now.
That's the
Well-
thing. This is coming at a time when the levels are all being raised.
I think the problem is we're at that point where most of us that play all the time, we should be at the top by now. Between September and now, with the amount we've played,
But even if
I
you were at the top, you still have 15 points to go.
I should be at 320,
well,
but I'm not
and-
because I keep getting 310 drops.
Well, I would also say, like, I consider myself being at the top, even though I'm not at 320, because between 310 and 320, it's not really that big of a difference. It's pretty
No,
much
it's effectively the same.
I
it's
agree with
pretty
you.
much bragging rights.
311 is the only number that matters, and that's only
Yeah.
if you're one of the people that plays hard mode raid consistently. Anything above 311, that's perfectly fine.
But I would say that the problem actually I didn't have a problem at all with it until I got to the top, because I was like, oh, I'm finally at 317, and then I got an item that dropped that I wanted, and it's not high enough light level. And then it like almost immediately occurred to me, oh, this is going to be a pain to get this up to the right light level.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like I have a set of gear that I wear that I don't even really like, but if I infuse it, then I lose 20% of my light level.
Yep.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Here's
Exactly.
the what's funny is that this new system kind of parallels the original Prison of Elders, which we only had for 4 months, which is the shortest amount of time between a major content drop in Destiny. And the thing about that was, with the etheric light, even though it was like people complained that there were so few ways to obtain etheric light, we very quickly maxed out and then moved our leveling in a more horizontal fashion towards the gear that we liked.
And wasn't that great?
No, no. Like for a lot of people that couldn't do Skolas every week, or who couldn't even do the 34 sometimes, it was pretty much a guaranteed way to hit the max rank. And that's when people were happy with being able to have their 300 something light. I guess it was 300 light fate bringers and stuff like that. You could bring all the stuff you already
but
had.
I don't know that this is going to be that much better for those people. If they were having a hard time getting etheric light then, even though we get 1-to-1 infusion now, those people are generally the people that aren't going to be getting the 335 drops anyway very often.
Well, except that you get Sterling Treasure every week for logging in.
You get that, but that's not going to give you any light level.
But at the same
right.
time,
You're right.
back then there was like 2 ways to get etheric light, and that was Prison of Elders or maybe the Nightfall. And now there's so many different ways to get light items.
There was Prison, Nightfall, Trials, and Iron Banner. All gave etheric light. Iron Banner was guaranteed 6 etheric light if you played the heck out of it on all 3 characters.
But and I agree with Korny though, because now there's Vanguard, Crucible, there's Iron Banner, there's Trials.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying there's
Raid.
definitely more ways now. But even then, with all of this, there's the big fat asterisk there of these events will drop up to 335.
Well, but so this is something I was trying to find a place to put in. So I posted about it on the forum. There is a note on the Destiny the Game website when you go to the tower section for the April update. There's a note that says engrams now guaranteed to drop an item with light level higher than players' total light.
Right, yeah, I saw that.
So we don't know exactly the context of that because it only appears on this page for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's true, then that's going to seriously improve the drops in Destiny.
Right.
True.
That's a way that it's almost implementing what people were saying, that whatever reward you get must at least be higher, 1 point higher than the light level you have.
Yeah.
What this has is it takes your average and guarantees you'll get better than your average. So no matter what you're getting, even if you get a ton of blue engrams, assuming that the blue engram, that it applies to those, you can decode it, equip it, decode the next one, and you're just slowly moving your way up. Even if it's just slight bumps between light levels, it's always upward movement. And if they do that, that's going to solve a lot of problems.
Yeah.
That's how I used to do my engram decoding, because there was always an aspect of that. The higher your light level, the higher your chances of
the window,
and that's why
the window shifted with your light.
And
that's
and
why
I'm really happy I'm not there anymore.
Just like Xenos said, that's why we didn't mind this infusion system until we got to that 311 plus, because we could do that. But as soon as you get to 301 or especially 311, there's not a single reason in the world to change your light level in decrypting engrams, because even exotics can't drop above 310.
Okay, hold up. That's not true. I saw a 317 helmet for my hunter.
But that was probably from a gold package in Trials.
Was it exotic?
I mean, silver.
It was an exotic.
Really?
So I finally dusted off my hunter last week. I hadn't been playing her at all, and I got her up to level 40, and then just I took all the engrams I had collected and went to the Cryptarch and did that ladder decoding thing. I sat there for a half an hour, just sort of swapping gear, and got her all the way up. And then I had a helmet engram that had dropped during the day, and I decoded it, and it popped out as a 317. And she was like a 303 light, I think, at the time. I'd never seen it before in my warlock. Yeah,
I've never heard of that happening.
I think you got a bug.
Yeah, I think you got a bug.
We won't call you a dirty liar, but we're skeptical.
Pixar didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. But
Did you
did
you save the clip?
I didn't. I was too dumbfounded to remember to even try it. I was trying to figure out what had happened.
You must have been playing on Xbox, because on PlayStation it's just real easy to do that.
Get 317 items?
No, to save it, to save a quick clip.
No, I know. Yeah, it was on Xbox.
I'm pretty sure Beorn has a Kinect, so it's
I know.
it's just as easy.
Yeah, no, the problem is if you forget after 30 seconds, it's oh no.
Yeah, that's the bigger problem.
Yeah. But so apart from the infusion system, which I think we all sort of agree this is going to be an improvement for getting everybody up to whatever the next, this next top tier is, so that we all have a consistent starting point for whatever the future content is. We've got some new features. We have the chroma customization system. So, Xenos, are you blue, yellow, or red? Or white?
I'd probably pick blue out of those colors.
I was just going to say, Xenos and I never agree on fashion. There's no way he's going to pick blue. But I'm surprised we actually agree on something.
I love the chroma, though. It makes me think of Tron, which, I mean,
yeah.
Who doesn't like Tron?
We can always
anybody
more
that
Tron
doesn't like it, I don't want to talk to you anymore. So,
yeah.
Wow.
I was really surprised when they showed it working on weapons. I did not see that coming.
No, the funny thing is, I was just telling Beorn, the Division does not have a lot of stuff that I think Bungie needs to take and put in Destiny, but weapon skins was one of them, and I was not expecting them to put any kind of weapon customization as far as looks in the game, especially not now.
I'd pay silver for that.
And it's only on select weapons.
It's basically on the new ones. It's all the new gear.
The year one reboots and the stuff that they're pushing forward. Yeah, all the new Queen's Wrath stuff.
Yeah, Queen's Wrath. Those Prison of Elders ones, they showed one of the fallen weapons that when they lit it up red, it had the fallen.
Oh, right. Yeah, it had that logo. That was cool. Yeah, that was nice. And then we have the Taken themed gear. And with that, we have those Sterling Treasures, which, as you pointed out, are going to be acquirable in a large number of ways. It seems like they won't be hard to get. It'll just be up to getting the right roll when you decode it.
Right.
Now, is there a way to get more than 3 per week without spending money?
I don't think there is a way to get more than 3 a week
Per character?
per character.
Okay.
That still seems like an awful lot.
Account.
Yeah, I don't know if they made it clear whether it was per character or per account.
I
The way
imagine
they've moved so many things, almost everything now, though, is per account. You know, you can't do the daily heroic on more than one. You don't get the benefits for doing more than one character per day.
You can do the raid, though, 3 times a week.
Yeah, but the raid is really the raid and trials. Those are kind of outliers. Those are more of the actual, Nightfall, daily, weekly heroics, weekly Crucible playlists and stuff are limited now to rewards per account. And I applaud that move. I thought that was one of the best things about Taken King, was kind of taking away that reason that we all felt the need to be swapping characters 3 times every Tuesday. And
what I would expect, if just going off what they've done so far, is the one you get just for logging in would be per account, but I would expect the challenge you'd be able to do 3 times.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, I think it's just, ever since Destiny came out, anytime Bungie sent you something to the postmaster, it was always based on your account. It wasn't, you wouldn't have 3 copies of it.
So one of the things that didn't hold for were the sparks. They got you up to light level 25.
Yeah, you just have 1.
No, I got 3. I got 1 in each time I logged in. I got another one. I mean, each time I logged in, another character.
Everybody got 3, I think.
I only got 1.
I've never used mine, but I only have 1 in my vault.
Yeah, I put mine in the vault hoping that 2 years from now they're going to give us something amazing if we still have 1.
I never used them, and I still have 3 in the vault. Yeah.
I think you got to.
You have your reasons? Really? I got rid of those.
I actually, on PlayStation, I have all of the original jack-o'-lanterns and the little vampire blood that gives you vampire little bats when you spawn.
Yeah.
The jack-o'-lanterns were so hard to get rid of. Oh my god.
I know. I started equipping one, and right before I logged out for the night.
That's exactly what I did. It took like 2 weeks to get rid of them all.
Exactly.
It was terrible because you couldn't actually play with them. They blocked your vision.
You know what I do? I save them for when my 3-year-old is whiny. And I'm like in the tower. He thinks it's the funniest thing in the world if you dance with one of those on. So I'll put a jack-o'-light on and dance in the tower, and then he just laughs for 5 minutes before bedtime.
Well, I wish there were a way I could give you mine. 'Cause you have
No,
good
I'm
use
still
for 'em.
trying to get rid of them. I was trying to get rid of them the other day, and then I've started doing what you guys said and just equipping them when I know I'm not going to be playing.
I figured out that you could actually get rid of 3 a night doing that if you were willing to like change characters just before you logged out.
That's
That seems like a lot of work.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's more work than having 15 of them or 30 of them stuck in your materials.
I was sad when Festival of Lost was dropping those things like candy again.
Mm-hmm.
Literally dropping them with candy.
Yeah. So, Mr. Warlock, what do you think about the Warlock changes there, Korny?
Well, gotta help the proletariat, as I've said. But actually, I'm surprised that they didn't go farther than they did. I am disappointed that. Well, it's kind of a Bungie issue where here they say here's a problem. Here's a list of 10 different ways you can nerf it and it'll fix the problem. And Bungie takes that entire list and applies it. And rather than test, I'm sure they play test each individual piece before they put them together. But I just don't think that I don't think they needed to reduce the duration of Radiance because it was the first subclass that was nerfed because Radiance is directly tied to your cooldowns, and they nerfed all 3 cooldowns. So you already had a weakened Sunsinger when they first did that, and now they're reducing it even further, which I don't think was an issue before.
Well, it's only reduced if you're
When you're self-resing.
Yeah, if you're in a Fireborn. And the other ones, they obviously want people to try things other than Fireborn. But there's been a lot of outcry. Triple Wreck especially has been leading the charge of he just completely dumbfounded that they didn't fix, or nerf the Firebolt grenades.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced that the Firebolt grenade itself was a problem. It does tick forever if you spec. Yeah, I do.
So there you go.
No, but I use them because they're effective. But compared to the other ones that are available, they're the only game really. And I build out my entire tree. Like I don't spec into other stuff because I'm using the core abilities on my class to try and maximize grenade burn. But I give up having multiple grenades to do it. I give up having a longer radiance to do it. I give up having extra armor while in radiance so that I can self-res. Like there are sacrifices, and it is my class is super.
Right.
Like I can't go.
The problem is that's fine in just about every game type except for Trials of Osiris.
Right, and that game type is a huge outlier, and I love it. But you're right. That changes sort of. That's a different pivot point completely.
Well, and it's basically there's the other bolt grenades that a lot less people use. I can't even remember what they're called. The lightning bolt grenades.
The Arc Bolt in Taken King. The Arc Bolt got weaker.
Right. I was actually looking forward to finally using Arc Bolt, and then they went and killed it. I was like, oh.
Well, and that's really my point though. Is Firebolt now is so much better than Arc Bolt. Like Arc Bolt it's an okay grenade because you basically get like an almost guaranteed hit around a corner, but compared to Firebolt grenade, it's not even. But close.
I don't think it's necessarily better than. So the Hunter has that Void Wall grenade. That thing is a nasty piece of work. It slows you down.
That thing doesn't kill anybody.
It's not about killing. It's not about killing, right? It's about trapping. The whole Night Stalker thing is about trapping your enemies and weakening them.
I've run into a lot of people who will hit you with a smoke and immediately throw a vortex grenade on you, and you have no way to get out of it in time.
Yeah.
And their cooldowns, especially if they're running the silver Kara grasps, I forget what they're called.
So you got it.
If you're running those and you have a really high defense, is it defense?
The discipline.
Discipline, yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna be able to do that a lot, and I think a big problem with that is those grenades are, they serve multiple purposes, because not only are they slowing you, they're suppressing you, they're poisoning you, and on top of that, if they choose, they can throw a grenade on you that you're guaranteed to die.
Yeah, no, they're great. The problem is, again, looking at this from a Trials of Osiris perspective, even those don't come anywhere close to coming up against even one Sunsinger with Firebolts. So especially if you have 2 or 3 that you're facing, Firebolts are going to be the primary reason that you cannot beat that team.
So, but Firebolts have a very easy defense, and that is to get away from them. Right? All you have to do is break line of sight, as opposed to like the Warlock. What do you call it? The Axion Bolt, right? It doesn't chase you.
Yeah.
I've actually gotten. I'm sorry. I was just saying. I've actually gotten really good. Like if I see a Sunsinger on the enemy team, I know he's going to be running Firebolts, so I'm going to stick close to corners. And when you see the Firebolt flying through the air, you don't have to outrun it. You just have to slightly move around a corner so that you're out of its line of sight.
It's smart. I think smart play. The Firebolt is really devastating if you're not paying attention or you get blindsided by the grenade. Like it can just turn the tide completely. But if you know that it's there and you're going to see it coming, I don't think it's really that crazy powerful.
Yeah, as long as there's only one of them. If there's 2 or 3 flying around.
You, Zero, and I remember we went up against 3 Sunsingers with Firebolt, and we managed to beat them. Not, I wouldn't say easily, but they weren't more of a challenge than any other 3 combos of people. And I guess it all comes down to the players themselves, right? And how smart they are throwing those grenades.
Was that on Frontier that week?
Huh?
I think that was when we were playing on Frontier that week. And I feel like that map has some better ways to get away from them than a lot of the other ones.
That's true. And the maps, different maps will behave differently. But as far as Warlock changes go, I'm not surprised they didn't touch Void or Firebolt. But I would have not been surprised if they did change it. Because it is so popular.
I think but then again, they showed the graph of Mida, and they're like, oh, look, it's used 10 times more than the second place weapon. So we're just going to... the only thing we're going to do is remove high-impact rounds. And,
I think the reason they did that is they were saying, yes, it's a good weapon, but they didn't actually see that it was getting better statistics than other guns. So, like, people weren't winning fights with Mida more than other guns. It's just for some reason the community has latched on to Mida in the current meta.
Well,
I don't disagree, but I'm just saying it's not a balance issue. It's a popularity issue.
Yeah. The philosophy that they said this, I think, at least 3 times in that stream. The philosophy in a lot of these things they were doing was to not change the feel of this weapon if you're the one using it, but to make it less frustrating to die to that weapon. I hate Mida multi-tool with a passion because I can't stand when I am lined up hitting all my shots and then just a couple Midas, all of a sudden I'm looking up at the sky because I got hit by 2 little nail gun bullets from a scout rifle, and it's just staggering me like crazy.
So interesting thing about Mida and this specific change is that if you go into the Mida tree and you look at all the stats that are there and all the options, high caliber rounds are not listed anywhere.
No, they mentioned it.
They're inherent.
No, that's what I'm saying. So all of the exotics, right? They sort of have all their listed perks, and then they have one unlisted perk that is there, but it is not documented. So Galahorn had the proximity, had the horseshoes and hand grenades.
Yeah, Thunderlord had
perk that wasn't listed anywhere.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they all do, but like Thunderlord, right? Every 3rd precision hit is an exploding bullet, and things like that. So I'm wondering if by them removing that hidden perk on Mida, like, are they going to leave it that way, or are they going to replace it with something else, like shoot to loot, or I don't know what else it would be.
They said they're just removing it. My guess is that they're probably going to nerf it again in the future, because I don't think that is going to reduce the usage of it by that much.
Yeah.
And as much they think it's balanced, but it's still they still want people to feel like there's reasons to use all kinds of other stuff.
I was saying that the interesting thing that they were talking about when they were saying, the new sandbox or stuff, I was thinking they were going to put some pretty big changes all around. They didn't touch scout rifles at all. The only one they touched was Mida, and that's only by removing the intrinsic perk. And I thought that was interesting. And I guess that's probably a topic you're going to touch on in a bit. But yeah, there was it was interesting that they don't list what they're doing. They're just saying, I guess it'll be in the patch notes. They just said, we're slightly going to improve this stability, or we're going to take away this perk.
Well, they did actually post not the specifics, but there is in the update you can see the weapon balance changes.
The update preview.
Right. Anything of particular note in there, Xenos, that you want to call
out? There's actually quite a bit. I mean, high rate of fire auto rifles have been really big lately, which has been pretty shocking, and they're nerfing those.
The right to.
Yeah, the right to.
Yeah,
it's 2.5 reduction, and the low rate of fire getting 2.3% increase. And then, let's see.
Those aren't really big numbers, though.
They are when it's per bullet. It's not like damage per second.
Yeah,
so it actually adds up pretty quick.
0.3%.
The reason the bullet hoses got so crazy was because it was like a 0.04 or 0.4%.
Yeah.
That apparently was a huge difference.
And hand cannons are getting a little bit of increase of ammo, which they desperately need.
But only in your backpack, not in the mag.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, I was bothered by that because really the biggest one that suffered from that is the last word, and that gun is also another one that I had a lot of frustration with. But they're nerfing that gun as well, but they're also giving it more ammo.
Right. Not in the clip though. So as far as its killing power, it's not going to be affected much. It's just they won't have to scavenge for ammo, which I have had to do with the last word in the current meta. They're increasing the stability of fusion rifles, which there's debate online if that's actually going to even improve anything.
I think part of the reason we have so much debate about fusion rifles is because there's so few people that use them. It's really hard to have a grasp of what these different perk categories do.
I think it's funny because I've used fusion rifles pretty much the entire time. With the last update, didn't have really any problems using fusion rifles. They definitely aren't as good as they were on day one. Yeah. But I can usually beat somebody that has a shotgun when I have a fusion rifle.
When you're running a fusion rifle, what do you usually use?
I usually use an exotic. I usually either use what's the name? Telesto or Plan C.
So you're usually going for the faster charge rate and lower impact, or the high impact ones?
I personally like the high impact ones, the longer charge.
Yeah.
The only thing with those is you have to make sure you're going to hit. If you miss with one of those, you're doomed because they take so long to charge. I love fusion rifles though. I think as far as like a weapon type in the game, they were really the only thing that felt really new in Destiny. There's not really many guns in any game that are like it because it's a charge weapon, which we've had stuff like the Spartan laser before, but the individual projectiles are so spread out, whereas the Spartan laser, they're in like one really tight cluster.
Yeah,
this one's like almost like you're spraying foam. It's really interesting. But yeah, anyway, that was kind of a tangent. The only other big thing I think is sniper rifles. They're increasing the range on all the low range scopes.
No, with an asterisk. They haven't said anything about the raid sniper.
And don't remind them.
Did you say the raid sniper?
Yeah. The
Yasmin, they didn't mention anything about its scope because they specifically said that they're applying increased zoom to the scopes.
Right.
And a lot of people right after the stream said, well, what about Still Piercer? Because it had one, a lot of people like that. And they did add in the update preview, that it will affect Hereafter, Black Spindle, Patience of Time, and Still Piercer.
Yeah.
But they still haven't mentioned Defiance of Yasmin, and it's really the only reason that that's such a good sniper is because it has such a low zoom.
I would imagine it will be included, though, because it is a lowest range sniper scope.
Is it as low as the ambush scope?
It's even lower.
It's even
Oh my
lower.
goodness.
That's
and
why
the thing is, I'm
pretty sure it's going to be effective. Is because it's the lowest range sniper scope.
I was always infusing my snipers into like my 1,000-yard stare, so I never
as long as your
played with them a
1,000-yard
lot.
stare had ambush or long view or whatever that other third one was.
Yeah, that's what I had been doing.
I don't
Showcase.
know. I'm willing to bet that Defiance doesn't get touched, at least not right away, until they realize, okay, now everyone's using Defiance because it's the only one with a low zoom scope all of a sudden.
We'll see.
I think so too, because one of the only drawbacks of Yasmin was that it was not a headshot kill on revive. But now it will be with the so-called hidden buff that somebody posted about. And I don't know, I think because another thing that Yasmin had going for it was it reloaded in your backpack. And that's almost
huge.
it'll almost turn it into an exotic status.
Oh, and all the raid weapons are getting faster reload times too. So
Yeah.
Well, that's because they were almost impossible to use. It was faster to switch over to a different weapon and let Cocoon do its thing than to sit there and like reload the heavy machine gun.
I kind of liked that though. I'm kind of sad that because that kind of gave them interesting feel. And if it's going to be brought down to like similar levels as other guns, I think people aren't going to use Cocoon as much.
Well, the hand cannon definitely needed some help, but I don't know that they all did across the board.
Well, the hand cannon's awful.
But speeding up its reload and fire rate alone would make that hand cannon way better. But talking about the resurrection, I think that's really interesting. And as someone that enjoys trials more than just about anything in the game, I'm really excited to see how that impacts things. I like that you don't have to use one of the, only 3 high impact snipers in the game to be able to res snipe, and that your death is going to cost you more. I know there was a little bit of controversy on DBO about that in the forum. Some people don't like it, but I do. I think if you die, it should be a little more risky for your team to have to get you back up. And
I think that's gonna probably hurt people who play with me more.
Because you rush out and die immediately in the middle of the battlefield every round.
Yeah, because normally I weigh the pros and cons of making a suicide run.
Right.
But with that increase, not only in revive time, but revived range, I think we're going to be seeing a lot less res snipes and more snipes at the people who are trying to get the res.
Yeah.
And a big problem with that, too, is, if your playstyle is to be hyper-aggressive, one screw-up now will totally, throw things against you, because 7 seconds is a long time to not be able to res your partner. And before, you had those jerks that would do the shade step res or the run by res, or like what I used to do is just continue shooting at the enemy and hold down the square or hold down the X and get the revive as I'm in the middle of combat. But now the longer you're in that area, especially if you die, you're screwed.
Well, I think that personally, I think the people talked a lot about the sniping changes that you can snipe with pretty much any sniper rifle, except for the very low.
Like a Praetor's Revenge archetype won't do it.
But the thing about that is, I don't think that's going to be nearly as big a change because everybody was using one that could kill kill someone that was rezzing anyway. I think it's just going to give us more options for sniper rifles. I think the bigger change is you can't sprint back and sprint by and revive. That's huge. That's how I did really most of my reviving in trials.
I think it's a good thing.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Yeah, definitely a positive change. Did they say that they're also adjusting the invincibility frames?
Yes.
During the res to make it match your you're getting control of your character.
Yes.
A little bit?
So the exact wording is adjust resurrection invincibility frame so the moment a player can move and take damage are more consistent in networking conditions.
Yeah, okay. I'm really looking forward to that change.
Yeah, that was one of the most annoying things, is not being able to move before you're dead again.
Mhm.
Yeah. It happens somewhat frequently. So, no, that'll be good. What other Trials related changes do they have? The first person who dies, you get 7 seconds, and then what is it? Every
7
death
more.
after that is
So it used to be 5 and then 10. So it was 5 and 5 and 5. Now it's 7 and 7
so
and
it's
7.
geometrically increasing. Like it's going to feel a lot different, I think, in Trials.
Well, I like that because I don't know about you guys. The long Trials rounds have always been my least favorite ones because they're stressful, and then you finally get to the end and you either lost or won one round. It was like we just spent 10 minutes on this stupid round when it could have been over in like 2 if they had these changes.
Yeah, I think there's been games where I think it was the Chaos got over 10 kills in one round just because they're getting the reses so often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm curious to see how it's a lot of little changes. Like any one of these by themselves would be of note, but not like a huge game changer. But I think that the combination of all of this stuff is going to really dramatically change how the sandbox feels.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how it actually does, after a couple weeks, once we've sort of gotten into it.
Yeah, because I was not a big fan of the first Crucible change. Like, I was really against just all those counters telling you when the ammo was coming in, but in the end, I guess, experience proved that was a better change than just having people running around with, what was the shotgun at the time? Fellwinter's Lie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I think now we have the problem with people running around with stuff like the 1,000-yard stairs and other guns that never run out of ammo thanks to they're fixing now the sidearm glitch or exploit.
Oh, I know.
And Icebreaker.
Beorn, you sound sad about that.
The problem with that too is they didn't mention at all the fact that because the damage is normalized, Icebreaker is still a headshot kill in Trials.
It's a headshot kill, but is it gonna be able to res kill? Because it brings your light down fairly significantly.
You're going to be seeing less res kills and more kills at the person doing the resing because they're in a smaller window for a longer time.
We'll have to see.
I mean, that's sort of the definition of a sniper, right? Like every single sniper rifle is a headshot kill.
They also actually nerfed Icebreaker quite a bit, though. Like has more recoil,
way more zoom, like quite a bit
more zoom. I can't remember everything, but there's quite a few.
So increase scope zoom optics to 6 times. Reduce base handling stat, not by 6 times, but it was whatever it was, maybe, I don't know, 3 or X, now it's 6x.
Yeah, 6 is pretty aggressive.
Reduce base handling stat to the lowest value for sniper rifles. So it's going to be a lot more unwieldy. Reduce base target acquisition by 25%. A lot less auto aim.
Good. It had a lot of magnetism.
Yeah, death swapping in PvP no longer allows ammo to persist between swapped weapons.
I think they're basically just trying to make it so the main reason you're going to use Icebreaker is because of regenerating ammo for it.
Yeah,
which I think is a good change.
You're gonna have to be good with it and put up with its shortcomings.
I'm also happy about this because I love sidearms, and so now people might actually use sidearms.
Mm-hmm. Well, and overall,
which is the sidearm to get?
Drake's
Iron Reef.
It really just depends on the roles more than anything because they have almost identical stats.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't ever had a Havoc Pigeon I like, and I haven't had an Iron Wreath that was bad, so maybe that's just luck.
That's the same experience I've had. Havoc Pigeon is just a terrible gun. Like, the recoil is insane on it. And stuff like the Iron Wreath, I can get kills with Iron Wreath fairly easily.
I've actually never used Havoc Pigeon just because it has a lower magazine size. so I'm not actually sure about Havoc Pigeon. But I use Jabber Hockey or Jabberhawk.
Which one's the one from New Monarchy?
Oh, I don't know.
I've been hearing good things about that one.
Mine has Rangefinder and Feeding Frenzy, and I love those two perks on a sidearm.
I'm curious to see if Dreg's Promise is actually going to be a choice people are making. It looks like it's going to be good.
I don't know if you saw the stream, but the guy, like, as soon as he switched off his primary to the Dreg's Promise, he was eating people alive left and right.
Right, and on paper,
I sort of felt like
it's going to be really good. I
couldn't tell if they were dying on purpose when somebody had the screen to show off whatever was going on.
I got a little bit of that feeling too.
Yeah. So with Dreg's Promise, the target tracking thing, is it like in the Fifth Element when the guy, he hits the target once and then he turns around and fires the gun and all the bullets sort of spray to the first place? Do you have to hit that first target, or you just sort of lock on?
Well, it's like
you just have to look at them.
You look at them, it'll lock on really quick. It won't ping like Truth does, but it works basically the way Truth does.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was like you had to hit that first round and then they'll magnetize, or if it was just
the one thing,
more like a Halo 2 needler.
The one thing I wasn't sure of is if you look away after the first targeting lock, does it keep it, or does it have to be every time? Does it have to be on them? That's the one part I wasn't sure about.
Yeah, I think it means because it's a burst fire weapon.
Right.
So
right. Okay.
I think it'll be by burst.
But either way, I'm pretty excited about that. That was actually the reason
questions.
I chose Dreg's Promise when I got my first what do they call those? The first bounty from Prison of Elders.
Cipher, right?
Elder Cipher. That was the reason I picked Dreg's Promise, because I thought it was going to seek, and then it didn't sync.
So for future reference, the Conviction 2 is the New Monarchy sidearm.
Okay.
Yep.
Because it was going to bother me if I didn't find out what the name of it was.
As soon as you said New Monarchy, I tuned out.
And Beorn, the other fusion rifle I use is the Thesson FR4, which is
I've been killed by that a few times.
Yeah,
that one I've seen a lot because of the...
I believe so.
And actually, I don't know why. I think it's because it's an arms day weapon, but it's one of the only fusion rifles that I'm consistently killed by before I have a chance to do any sort of counter to them.
Yeah, and it's actually because it has almost maxed out impact. It's got almost as high impact as you can. And
now, have you used the Dead Orbit one? Because Dead Orbit has one that is completely maxed impact.
I don't do Dead Orbit.
That's right.
But what's the charge time on it?
I just posted a link that compares those three: the Conviction 2, the Iron Wreath D, and the Jabberhocky D.
And now we're going to have to post the link like on the forum or something so people can see this.
Oh my gosh.
Just read it out loud. 209-330-308.
And this week's number is brought to you by Conviction 2.
And the letter A. I can't look at those three columns and say that one is
make any sense of it.
Yeah.
And part of the problem is, from what I've heard, is their stats are so close to being the same that it's hard to tell how much of a difference it makes. Because, you look at those. You're looking at numbers that are different by, at most, 10, and that's for attack.
Right. I think it comes down to picking one, trying it, see if you like it, and just hold on to it if you do.
And the perks.
That Conviction, too, though, aim assist and equip speed being quite a bit higher than the other two. Those two alone make me think that's the best sidearm.
Mm-hmm. Especially the aim assist. I've been surprised at how fast you can kill people at range with that. What was it? It has a faster time to kill than the Doctrine, in my experience.
And that's actually, so the reason I love mine is really mostly because of the perks. That rangefinder on a sidearm makes a pretty big difference, just because the range is so lousy on sidearms. Any boost to that makes a pretty big difference, in my experience.
So did we miss anything about the update?
We haven't mentioned much the ammo economy changes,
Yes.
which I think is a huge benefit to this update.
Yeah, that's also going to change things.
I've always
You're a bad
felt like
person.
special and heavy, but especially special ammo, was way too plentiful. But that completely taking it out of the 3-player game types was the wrong way to do it. So I'm really glad they're backtracking on that, and instead just reducing the amount of special ammo that's there and reducing the amount of boxes and lengthening the time between boxes dropping. I think that I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, that'll be nice. And, especially in trials, because you got to this point where if the timing of rounds didn't work out, you could get through all 5 rounds without ever even touching a green brick.
And somehow
even if you were
enemy
winning,
team always had sniper ammo anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but no, that'll be nice, and just making them more rare, so every shot is worth more. So you need to conserve the ammo. That'll be good.
I'm never
sure I'll be griping about it in a couple weeks, but
I don't like it so much because it means I actually have to hit my targets. I don't approve.
But so, just making sure I'm right. In trials, we are going to go back to having some special at the beginning.
I think
they didn't say how much.
Right.
In every game type, you're going to start with some.
And it's not the same. Like, I think they said the first batch of special ammo comes in at, was it 5 minutes?
Right, well,
Yeah.
trials is going
Heavy
to
at
still
5.
be 30 seconds in or whatever, but all the other game types, instead of 2 minutes, it's now going to be...
It comes twice a game, isn't that what they said? Or was it 3 times a game?
3 minutes. Yeah, I think it was 3 minutes in, and then 5 or 6 minutes, and then heavy comes in at 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, I'm disappointed. They made it clear in the stream, but they didn't really put it in words in the update, and so I can't double check right now.
On the stream, they said that special ammo will spawn 2 times per match, and heavy will spawn 1 time per match.
And I don't like that so much.
I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I mean, because the problem was, they're aren't they reducing the amount of ammo that machine guns hold?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, that alone, that's another example of me saying, they get a list of ways to fix it, and they apply every single one of them. So you end up with...
Reduce the fraction of ammo granted by purple bricks in PvP. This change affects all machine guns and only a handful of rocket launchers. Truth is one of the affected rocket launchers.
Basically, it's going to make it so nobody gets a rocket with 3 rockets, I would guess.
Or 4, really, right? Because Truth is one of them.
Yeah, Truth
Truth
had
got 4. That's right.
But
and then what if you're
a
also
single heavy round can completely turn a game around, and you can recover from that if you screw up the first one and manage to do the same thing to them on the second one. At this point, if you screw up the first one, you're done.
But by reducing the amount of ammo that the machine guns are carrying, hopefully that huge swing isn't going to be happen as often, right?
I don't know, with zombie apocalypse coming back. I think that one was 65 rounds, and now even if they reduce that, then you still have a situation where back then, you had the choice to hide and wait for other people to burn through their heavy ammo. Now, there's not going to be a whole lot of heavy ammo to burn through. So if somebody has something like that, or I don't know if the Titan's Ruin Wings still apply to giving you more ammo from bricks.
No, not in PvP. Okay. They've never worked in PvP.
Could have fooled me.
Did they ever work in PvE?
Yes.
I thought it.
Not that they give you more per brick, but that they give you more bricks.
No, it's also that there is more per brick.
At first it was. I remember right when they came out, you would also get more per brick, but I thought that was only PvE.
Is that one of those secret perks?
No, it says it in the description. Ammo will give you more per
It'll
pickup.
be more plentiful and will provide more per pickup. And I think the perk even still says that, but I seem to remember them actually
it does say that
for PvP.
Because I used to be able to get. I think I made a video where I got 6 rockets from 1 brick.
Wow.
Because there was also a bit of RNG in how much extra it gave you per brick.
Yeah,
right?
normally it was 4. it'll give you 4 per brick, but it could give you up to 6.
Well, it also used to stack. I remember with the heavy ammo perk.
Boots. Yeah.
And it doesn't stack anymore. I remember they took that away.
Yeah, I remember I used to have 8 rockets in my.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Good Joller horn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll have to wait and see how much the heavy ammo is reduced before we can really say for sure. But
well, they say machine gun.
It does make me nervous.
The machine gun ammo armor perks is reduced by 33%, but you're referring more to how much drops in each brick, right?
Yeah. I've never really had much of a problem with their changes before for ammo because I've always been a fan of using primary and then only using special and heavy when I really need it. But so it's never affected my playstyle a lot, but I definitely understand why it's frustrating.
Especially with Iron Banner bounties requiring heavy ammo kills.
Well, they did say that they specifically said they're changing those bounties so that to go along with this impact. You're not going to need to get 3 heavy weapon kills now. It'll be like 1 heavy weapon kill for that bounty.
Okay, that'll be. And they're fixing the 2,500 point one.
Yeah, that'll be 1,500 points and a completion instead of 2,500 and a win. And sometimes, I had a lot of the time though, especially if I was playing by myself, where I'd get 4,000 points, but our team would lose. And like 3 matches in a row, I couldn't finish that bounty because our team was losing.
Because you were playing Rift Iron Banner?
I don't even think I think last time it was a Rift, I just stayed away.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Me too. So I think the only thing we haven't talked about, and I don't even know if we want to talk about it, is the slight controversy over the pay to win that people are saying is in the game come April.
Yeah, I don't think we really need to talk about it since we know those people are just full of it. But
is this the silver treasure?
Yeah.
Sterling treasures.
Sterling treasure.
So yeah, it was immediately apparent to me when they did this stream. We saw the armor, the Taken shader armor, and it was level 3 light, and I thought that's really weird. Why would they do that? And then a couple minutes later, we walk over and we see that we can buy these with silver, and I went, oh, duh, that's why, because it's not about winning. It's about if you all remember, I had the fun experiment with the Sparrow during SRL, and managed to not get a random drop from any of the test packages. So I'm not going to be doing the Sterling treasures, but it's purely cosmetic because you still need to play the game and get those items with light to infuse it. And once you get something you like, you can infuse it quickly now. Right. You don't have to pour like 5 different pieces of armor into it.
I think all the pay to win, the people that think this is even close to pay to win are just ridiculous. That being said, because I'm an attorney and I like to play devil's advocate, there's only 2 ways you could even try to argue this. You could say that because you can spend money to get the exact perks you want, $70 later, maybe that's okay, pay to win because I got the 2 perks I wanted on this after dropping $70. Or that because these packages can contain a booster to your faction rep, that's the other way. Again, I think those are both ridiculous arguments. This is not pay to win. Not even close.
Have they said how much that booster affects you? Because if it's something like 20%,
I think it is 20%.
A whole lot, right? You're still having to play the game.
It's something like that, but also the key here is they've made it clear that all of those reputation levels are getting I don't know if the number's doubled or tripled, but they're drastically increasing the rate at which you'll get those upgrade packages anyway. So boosting it by an extra 20%. So
there are a ton of different ways to get those booster packages just through normal play, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
They come from doing the strikes and the playlists
and they drop from those faction upgrades as well. And the other thing that I think a few people didn't notice is the things on the right during the stream. The way they worded it, it doesn't even sound like you're guaranteed you'll get an item on the right.
Yeah.
That's like a Navy table.
Only guaranteed to get one item on the left.
Yeah.
Where did I see it? I think it was on it might have been planetdestiny.com. One of these sites, Deej posted somewhere screenshots of what like a normal legendary engram can drop in the same format of what the Sterling Treasures. On the left, 1 guaranteed from this column and 0 to 3 from the right column. And
that was from the factions, yeah.
Yeah, and so, but he showed like basically how any legendary engram, they've always worked this way, and this is the way they work. It's 1 guaranteed from this, and 0 to 3 of this.
They're just making it more transparent now. I like that there's a UI for it. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So I got the impression that that's the way these have kind of always worked. Maybe it was just the faction packages, but we had never seen it in that UI format before, so that was kind of neat.
So Claude, when we get our patch on Tuesday, what's going to be the first thing that you're going to check out?
Well, I haven't actually been able to play for the last few days. I've been doing lots of other things. But last night, late at night, just before 1 o'clock, I logged on and I bought a whole bunch of heavy ammo synths. And the first thing I'll do Tuesday morning is turn them in for faction rep and see what pops up.
That is a good idea. I'm going to have to go do that.
That's a great plan. Make that glimmer work for you.
Damn straight. Strange coins, actually, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right. And how about you, Xenos? What are you most looking forward to?
Honestly, I'm just looking forward to seeing what the new quests are. Even when it's just not with new geometry and everything, I really enjoy just having a new thing to do. Because the main thing I love about Destiny is the way the gameplay plays. So just giving me an excuse to get in the game and play is enough for me.
Get in the world and just explore.
Yep.
Yeah. How about you, Korny? What's your big look forward to?
Prison of Elders, actually. I really like what do you call that end game stuff that requires a lot of communication and teamwork, and I think it's another opportunity for Prison of Elders to do that, because it didn't really quite do that the first time. There were shades of it with the boss battles, but now that the challenge mode is only boss battles, I'm really looking forward to seeing people struggle throughout those 16 weeks of new content, because they won't always be easy challenges. At some point you're going to have grounded and all the nasty things set up against you.
Yeah.
Grounded and airborne in the same package.
It could happen.
It happens regularly, actually.
And Speed, how about you? What are you looking forward to?
I think I kind of a little all of the above. The first thing I'm going to do is probably drop $20 on Sterling Treasures just because I want some of that hunter armor. But then I'm going to
You're going to get nothing but Titan.
Yeah, I'm going to try to just work through the quest line real quick. Like Xeno said, I'm looking forward to seeing what that is. Mostly, I'm going to enjoy it no matter what it is. And I'm hopeful but cautiously optimistic that it's more than just a few things in places we've already been. But I'm really looking forward to overall checking out that challenge of the Elders. I'm going to work through the other stuff first, but I'd like to, get in there with Korny and Sammy on opening night or something and check out the boss battles.
Speaking of, that's one thing we didn't touch on, the evilness of microtransactions. They didn't really say what more they're going to add to the Eververse. They did show a screen of what was there, but
and they showed a ton of emotes.
Yeah, I'd love to. Well, did they show the? They showed the horn packages and stuff like that. But I wish they would add more to that. I really wish you could buy Sublime Engrams, because they used to have a high drop rate, and I think they greatly reduced it.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who play on Xbox, the Sublime Engrams are the PlayStation 4 exclusive armor drops. Yes.
Yep.
Exclusive, not just armor, gear, weapons, and armor. Isn't that right?
I don't. That's not how you got your
weapons.
Jade Rabbit. No, and that was the only exclusive weapon.
Really?
It was just the armor.
So it's just the armor, huh? Didn't know that.
5 armor slots per class, and if you got Sublime
weapon one.
you do. No, because the only exclusive weapon was the Jade Rabbit, right? And that would just
Yeah, I guess that's true. You'd know you got it immediately.
It was interesting that the Zen Meteor is also just added to the random drop loot table like the Jade Rabbit was, instead of given because the quest line only giving you a spur kind of disappointing, but whatever.
Yeah.
I have to say, I think the feature I am most looking forward to is no UI, so I can walk around and just like film some of the Destiny world in 1080p. I am so excited for that. I have a little project where I recorded.
I'm excited to see what you come up with.
I had spent hours recording the lighthouse, and I'm still trying to edit it together and find some good stuff. But getting rid of the UI or cutting that out was a huge pain.
And for me, it's in the levels, because lighthouse, at least you could do like the sitting trick, and exactly. Nobody's ever attacking you. But in the world now, you don't even have to do that. You can just be in first person and record, which is awesome. Yeah.
Did they say your gun will also disappear, or are you just going to have to chop off the bottom part of your screen?
You'll have to chop off the bottom, I'm sure.
It's better than what we got.
Go widescreen, yeah. But yeah, no, I'm definitely looking forward to that. Of all things.
Yeah, I don't know that I'll ever use the feature, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what people do with it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there'll be some really great material out there. Okay, well, I think that pretty well covers the topic. Do you guys have any last parting thoughts before we wrap it up?
Go kickstart Echoes of the First Dreamer.
Yep.
Yes.
thefirstdreamer.com.
Actually, is this going to be out before that's over?
Well, there's 47 hours to go, so
yeah. I'm gonna try my darndest to punch this out.
Good news is it is
Monday.
Funded now, so it's happening for sure. But it'd be great to give Marty some more money for this.
Well, it has dropped back below the level at least 3 times.
Yeah,
after it's crossed the 45,000. Yeah. I'm hoping it doesn't happen again. We're almost at 47K now, so it seems like it seems unlikely at this stage. Yeah.
Just in case,
I say we. I have nothing to do with it.
In case it takes a little longer for this podcast to come out, how's everybody enjoying Echoes of the First Dreamer?
So good.
Stuff's not getting delivered till October, dude. We might actually have another one by then. No,
I sure hope so.
The Dustin of the First Dreamer.
And then finally, I was sort of curious. I've just been mulling this over in my head. We've got June coming up. It's approaching slowly. And E3 2016. Do you guys think we're going to see any Destiny 2 information there?
No, not Destiny 2. I think we're going to see a trailer for whatever September's going to bring, which will be probably on par with Taken King.
Personally, I think if we see anything about Destiny 2, it'll be like the title and nothing else.
Yeah, even like a tease.
Yeah.
It'll be like the Halo 4 original teaser that resembled nothing in the actual game.
Or even the Halo Reach original teaser. That was literally like the Spartans and the name.
Not to dig too deep into it, but I think Bungie doesn't want to have a year and a half of a hype train going for Destiny 2. And on top of that, seeing the success of how well like this worked for like Fallout 4 and some other games that announce just before it comes out. I mean, obviously, we know that Destiny 2 is coming next year, but why start the hype train on it so far in advance?
Yeah, and I think if they say much of anything, it would potentially cannibalize whatever we're going to see in September.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
So, do you think they're going to have an announcement for the September release?
Yeah,
yes.
I think we'll have a name and a date and a hint of what it's going to be.
I would honestly bet on it. Like, I'm 99% sure we'll see something in E3.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I don't
know.
It'd be a little. I wonder what the forums would say if they announced that at the
right.
Sony
press conference.
PlayStation Experience. Or...
I almost guarantee they will. Like, that's what they've done the last... Isn't that even where they did
2 years? Yeah.
Yeah. That's what Sony's
so I'd be surprised if it's not at that.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And I'll say this right now. Just get used to it, guys. This is coming for someone that plays 90% of their time on Xbox for Destiny. Just get used to it.
Yep.
Vote with your wallet.
Yeah.
I don't think the PlayStation exclusivity stuff's going away with Destiny 2.
I don't either.
I mean, it's weird that we have the people at the same time saying, I don't know. I guess that's a discussion for another day. But the whole, well, it was only a month of exclusivity on Xbox and stuff like that. It's the principle that counts. You can't justify or rationalize it. It was there before and it's there now. And if crossplay comes, it's going to be even bigger in the future. It's just something that's, it's a part of the business.
Yeah, but a year is an awfully long time for a lot of the things that were exclusive year one. They might as well have been exclusive forever because they became considerably less valuable by the time they reached Xbox.
Well, I think, except for the fact that Hawkmoon got nerfed 4 times by the time it came.
5.
It wasn't just Hawkmoon.
Well, it was 2 weapons, a couple strikes, and a couple Crucible game maps, right?
It was 3 weapons. It was a Horseman, which got a huge buff and then got a nerf right before coming out on Xbox.
Yep.
Hawkmoon got nerfed 5 times, and the Monte Carlo got nerfed, then buffed, and then nerfed again right before launching on Xbox.
I still love my Monte Carlo.
Yeah, it sucks that the weapons weren't the same, but that's more of a weapon balancing thing that they need to do no matter what. But I think they did it right with the strikes. The strikes, first of all, a lot of PlayStation guys didn't think they were the best strikes anyway. But when they did bring them, because they retweaked everything, I'm sure it felt to the Xbox people like they were getting a lot when that happened. Because not only were they getting the original version of the strikes, but also the new taken version as well.
I wonder if they're going to do that with the current PlayStation Strike, because it's interesting to me that nobody ever talks about it. When it can be an extremely short strike, it's a way to get the Imago loop, and you have exclusive Warlock gauntlets that drop with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder why that's kind of just fallen back to the wayside.
So you're saying on the PlayStation there's 2 opportunities for Imago loop?
Oh yeah, there's Undying Mind and Echo Chamber.
Yep.
Isn't there a third one? Doesn't Nexus Mind drop it too?
I've never seen that.
I think it does.
I think it's any of the Vex ones, just like any of the Cabal ones can drop.
I've played Nexus a billion times, and I've never seen an Imago loop drop for me or anybody I was playing with.
It might not, but I thought it did.
Huh.
But I honestly, the exclusives haven't bothered me that much. The thing is, I know they're gonna bring forward the weapons because otherwise they would piss off Xbox people even more. So the Zen Meteor in a year is gonna get brought to Xbox.
Yeah.
And the strikes are going to get brought.
Well,
and the strikes, like you said, it's like I just get one more strike a year later. It's not that big a deal.
Beorn Jade Rabbit's not that special anyway. Trust me.
Oh, I still want one though.
I've used
good.
it, and I really want one. And I think that's but like you said, it's if it's not being used against you, you can just look at it as you not getting it from RNG, because a lot of people, like, I don't have it, and I played a lot on PlayStation. And another thing is, even though at the time the Undying Mind was one of my favorite strikes, even though the Minotaurs didn't drop Glimmer, which I thought was no big deal, but like people for some reason despised the strike for that one detail, because the boss fight was interesting. It's a bummer that Echo Chamber cannot be a Nightfall, and because it would be interesting. You're just
good Nightfall.
Yeah, you're just farming it because it's fast. It's a fast way to try to get the Imago loop, but other than that, there's not a whole lot of incentive to play it unless you're doing the heroic playlist and it just happens to come up. So PlayStation exclusive stuff is limited in that there's not a lot of incentive to experience it.
Is PlayStation getting another strike in the April update?
No, just the quest line and the Zen Meteor.
That quest line that we think is probably Court of Oryx.
Oh, and the armor, which I actually for once like a Warlock coat that is not and that's not an exotic.
Yeah, they're getting a full new slate of Sublime Engram stuff.
including the Zavala armor, which I personally don't like, but it's interesting how much like Blue Runner posted that it looks a lot like Reach armor, and so did the Chroma armor for the Titan. It's very much a Reach like armor.
Yeah, that's true.
It's too bad the Taken armor is the ugly Hunter armor.
But you get the plain hat for the Titan.
All right, guys. Well, I'm going to have to wrap it up because my recording studio turns into the bedroom pretty soon. But
Wink, wink.
oh dear. But I thank you so much for hopping on and chatting about this before the update lands, and we should do another one I think in a couple weeks once the dust has settled.
Absolutely.
Sounds like a great idea.
Yep.
Yeah, and Claude, thank you for joining us, and Speedracer, and Xenos, and our new news poster, Korny. You guys have been great.
Thanks for running.
All right. It's fun.
And with that, we'll see you Starside.
Morlocks.
So Beorn,
Perfect ending. So I don't even have to edit that. It's just I'm just gonna put that in as was.
That's where it goes.
Beorn.
Yep.
you realize when you started the podcast that you did not actually say the name of the podcast?
Yeah, I did.
Nope.
So-
You said the DBO podcast.
You didn't say the Starside Lounge.
You can edit that in and post. Welcome to the DBO
Wow.
Starside Lounge podcast.
All right, sir. It's in your hands.
Okay. La 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 la.
Intro theme.
But he doesn't do that every time. That was the first.
Or I edit it out.
He's just making sure his voice won't break.
Yeah, something like that. Hey guys.